I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to the Kraken 5.0 video project. We're actually going to be building 4 Kraken version 5 12,000 watt fat bikes, and right now we're looking at the 4 frames painted and ready to go. Now we're actually, luckily here, we're at HPC, High Powered Cycles in Chatsworth, California, and we are in their machine shop. I'll do a quick tour. You can kind of see all around, and there's a lot more behind me as well, but we are here to work with HPC and assisting in getting these bikes built and getting full access and use of the machine shop to with, of course, their expertise in building these things from the frame up. Now, this project is a pretty extensive project, and we really want to show you the amount of work and time it takes to build one of these bikes, and you can see the quality that especially these new 5.0 versions are when they're made. Not every frame, and really there's no frame is exactly the same, so each one of these has to be built up by hand. And right now I've got these frames side by side with each other. We want to show you the differences that these frames have. Now, even though they're technically identical, but they are not. Each one has its own exact measurements necessary to build a perfect bike, a bike that's in perfect synchronization and harmony with all the parts, so that your brakes, your chain, your shifting, tires, everything is perfectly aligned up. So real quick here, I'm going to show you how each of these frames are really different. We actually measure right here, and so we got a tape measure here. Just the width right here, we're looking at 5.5 inches of the inside width of this frame. We go over right next door to the exact same frame here, and this one's only 5.25. I mean, this whole thing, just the width dropout's a 1/4 inch difference. Third frame here, this one's going to be about 5 5/8 right there in width. So each of the widths of the rear end, you can see, is different. Also, if you look here, look at the height difference here. I'm going to give you an example here, but look at, they're sitting exactly on a flat table, but the height difference of the geometry, this is about a 1/4 inch lower than the frame on the right. So also the derailleur here, you can see the derailleur is slightly off angle inside to the right. It needs to be measured and straightened, where this one, of course, a little more vertical. You can see some of the welds up here are going to have slightly different curvature angles. So when you look at these frames, we build one up, the geometry has to be all measured out exactly so that you're going to get high quality, very highly built bike that's definitely going to last and be already in tune when you get it. If you just go ahead and start bolting up parts to this, you're never going to get it. Even if you shim it and put washers here and there, it's just never going to line up correctly. Lining up one thing automatically throws the alignment off on something else. So this is really what this project's designed to show, that the quality that goes into building each of these bikes individually. So this is exactly what we're going to be working on. All right, here we are. We are actually at HPC with Chris Hunt, co-owner of High Powered Cycles, and he's here to discuss really all of the angles and details it takes to really build a perfect bike. And of course, the Kraken can be challenging. So Chris, take it away, man. What really makes this bike challenging and to make it work well?
Okay, so on these particular Krakens, we're happy to help out to make these as perfect as possible and have a perfect chain line. We want power transition to be seamless. We want to make sure that the torque arms are properly seated on both sides to take the big power that these bikes are going to put out. So here's a few of the frames that we're going to work on. I want to show you, so we manufacture our own frames now, so we're getting heavy into making US frames and doing everything. And I'm actually going to be launching a video all about the revolution and what it actually takes behind the scenes footage, for how much work goes into making these US made frames. Now for frames that historically we've built conversions on, there's a lot of imperfections in some of the frames that we need to iron out and make sure that we correct before we build a proper bike out of them. For example, take out dropout width. So let's see. So on this particular one, let's see, dropout width is a 139 on this. Going to the next one, we're looking at 133.
Wow.
Next one is going to be 141. Next one is going to be 138. So as you can see, there's variation in the rear ends of these bikes, in the rear triangle, that we have to sort through to be able to clear a 4.8 inch tire with a proper chain alignment and make sure that the wheel is properly dished and spaced in the frame so that it transfers power properly, completely straight as possible. We want the power to be transferred completely straight, facing forward along in alignment with the fork itself. And then at the same time, we've got to make sure that your chain alignment is proper so that you can shift through all the gears and not prematurely wear anything out. So that's one of the first big things we got to do. There's going to be a little bit of machine work and maybe some lathe that we're going to need to do on each individual frame to make it perfect and make it all line up. Then we're going to have our heavy duty hardened steel torque plates or torque arms on both sides so it can handle the extra power that these bikes are going to put out. Here are some of the forks. The same thing applies to some of the forks, spacing wise. They're not going to be equal just because in general that's how overseas bikes come that we see. So when we make our US made bikes, that's a priority to get everything exactly perfect and have almost no variation if we can help it. Here is the Schlumpf drive. This is a Schlumpf high-speed drive. This is awesome. This allows you to go from a 34 to 85 tooth equivalent chainring, so you can pedal at ultra high speeds above 45 miles an hour at a comfortable cadence. This is our new motor that's for the Revolution. This is the Revolution 7.0 motor that can handle up to 7,000 watts. It's air-cooled. There's a lot of special things going on inside, custom axles, wiring. I mean, the wires are thicker phase wires and do a lot of things inside to make this motor special and as efficient as possible. These are 12 gauge fill wood spokes. They're about as strong as we can get into that rim that we're going to lace up 36 holes. These are stems that Ren from Top Gun provided us to put onto this bike. Here is our frame bag. This is a US made frame bag. It's very high quality. It's made here locally in Los Angeles. The inside material is actually a blend of Nomex and Kevlar. I believe it's 97% Nomex and 3% Kevlar. It has pockets on the side. I really like the frame bags because they're made of waterproof 1000 denier nylon on the outside, but they have a lot of storage, so you can put your keys, wallet, whatever you want to put there. Cycle Analyst version 2.4. Now we use the version 2.4 instead of the 3.0 because to us it's simpler, more reliable to get a perfect feeling power curve. So when you're getting on throttle, it's the smoothest experience that we found. The 3.0 has so many different variables that you can go into power delivery that sometimes it's tough to get it just as smooth as a stock 2.4 can be. So that's why we go 2.4. This is a 7,000 watt capable controller that is made with a giant heatsink specifically for the Revolution. These are our new chargers that we have that we changed out about a year ago. Much more reliable than our old short chargers were. It's just a good solid choice.
A lot bigger too, aren't they?
Possibly. It depends on the power size. Different sizes. US made battery system. So this is one of the things that we're known for is we're bucking the trend. We don't buy anything from China in terms of battery systems. So these are built in-house, welded. This particular pack has 184 individual cells that is spot welded between 6 and 8 times each, and they're spaced out so they're not actually touching, so there's an air gap for insulation, and then they have a vibration resistant material on each cell, so it just makes the pack stronger. If it were to have some impacts, it's just a stronger pack.
So this battery for the Kraken here, this has also got a high-end BMS,
so
right?
yeah, this is a special BMS that we had to make that is good for well over 100 amps continuous. And these cells are special cells from Sony VTC6A, so it's the hard-to-get latest batch from Sony that's unbelievable performance, the best there is in terms of 18650s. This is, I believe these are the Maxxis Minion tires, which are the best fat tires that we've ever tested. Shocking how much tread life they have compared to some of the other models and brands we've tested.
A lot thicker too.
Yeah.
A lot thicker. So, you know, you talk about the frames here. Obviously, it takes individually, you got to build each one up, you know, piece by piece. It also lines the brakes, right? Spacing, kind of literally, the synchronization is really the key. And you've obviously got the shock.
All these are not perfect either. The brake mounts, they're all going to be off and twisted a little bit, and there's just a lot going on that we have to take into consideration and probably make spacers or adapters for. So it's one thing to put together a bike, and then there's one thing to do it right. So we try to do it right here.
And you've got the shop. Obviously, you've got all the tools. I mean, you've got a complete mechanical shop here to do that, huh?
Yep.
You know, and that's the advantage. It makes a professional in building, especially a bike like this, being this high powered. You know, you can't take any chances. So we're good. Well, all of these components here, I mean, these are the top of the line that we're putting on the Kraken. You can see Chris just described all that, and that's what it comes with. So we're going to be building these up. The next part of the video, we're going to show a completed bike, and he'll go through all of what it took and kind of show off the final product. So I want you guys to stay tuned, and we will get to that video. Chris, thanks for doing this for us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.